Hi everyone, so book review here, Dresden Files, and this is a book that's been on my TBR for quite a significant amount of time. I saw a number of booktubers talk about it. I saw Daniel Green had reviews about it. Jessica from Books and Tropes had reviews about it, and she really likes the series, and I thought I need to check it out someday. Now, before that, I was reading this book. I'm still reading this book, and so about halfway now. I went to Dublin at one point and I forgot to bring this with me. And while I was there, I said, okay, I'm going to go to a bookstore and I need to, get something to read while I'm there. And I went to this bookstore, Hodges Figgins, and I really like this bookstore. It's like an old style bookstore. It's very, very large. There's several floors. There's like many different books, every genre and style that you can think of, fiction, non-fiction, etc. That's where I picked up this book and a couple of other books, and also this bookmark, nice bookmark. So about the book, it is a world where you have magic, and it's a bit of an unusual setting, right? So if you consider different book series, usually you either have like magic out in the open and everybody knows it's there, or it's more like hidden, right? So if you consider Harry Potter, it's like you have the wizards and the wizards are hiding, and then the most people, they're kind of unaware that there's magic there. I don't have Harry Potter here, but then there's a whole bunch of other series, like for instance now you have the Artsy series where there's like magicians and there's like magic all around. You have the Black Magician trilogy. It's also, everybody kind of knows there's magic in that world. Even the Spook series, right, where basically, there's magic and people are afraid of it. Here, it's a bit unusual because it's mostly our world as we know it, but then there's kind of magic there. They're wizards, but they're kind of very discreet. Most people kind of ignore them, so it's a bit of an unusual setting. So it happens in Chicago, and it's Chicago, it feels like the late 90s, right? I mean, it's before the internet, before smartphones, and I think that's roughly when the books came out. So, and then, like, technology seems to not work very well when the wizard's around. That's kind of part of the lore. So he's kind of even further behind. So the magician is like stuck in the 80s, and the whole world has moved on into the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s kind of thing. So that's kind of the setting. Okay, what else do I want to say about this book? This is a book very much for adults. This is, like, the sex is kind of always there in the background. You don't have outright, like, sex scenes per se, but you have, it's always there in the background. Like, you have prostitutes, and you have all kind of things, and you have, like, a very big obvious thing at the start that I'm not going to say, but if you read it, if you know, you know, it's kind of always there, and it's definitely a book for adults. And it's not the kind of book I typically read, but I still did enjoy the book. I don't think it was too bad, maybe because I was prepared for it. I kind of knew it going in based on the reviews. Overall, I did enjoy that story. Basically, you have two major plot threads that run through the entirety of the book, and then it wraps up neatly at the end, and I like when that happens, when things are wrapped up properly and the different plot threads kind of come together at the end, and that is what happened here. And so I found that was a satisfying read. I mostly enjoyed it. Like, the pacing is okay. It kind of moves fairly quickly at the start, and then it kind of slumps a little bit in the center, and then it picks up towards the end. It's not a very large book, right? There's is it 300? It's 300 odd pages. Yeah, that's what it is. About 300 pages. Okay, when it comes to star rating, I know a lot of people like stars, and they wonder how many stars would you give this book. I've never liked the star rating because I don't think it gives a good idea of the book, and like different people have, like, they give different number of stars. Like, some are very generous with the stars and some are not, and so then you don't really get a sense of what the book is like. I'm going to experiment with a different type of rating, like one that I made up. And I call it the heart rating, like H-E-A-R-T. Now, H is for book hangover, okay? So basically, did the book give you a book hangover, that is to say, like, did it make you sad when you finished it because now you had no more to read? And did you need some time before you could pick up the next book? Did you feel like no book was ever going to live up to that standard again, right? So that's like a book hangover. And no, I did not get that with this. Okay, E is for would you encourage a friend to read it? And I would, with the caveat that I would have to know that it's like I said, it's not for everybody. It's for adults. Not everybody is gonna like this book. But if I knew my friend was into that kind of stuff, I certainly would encourage a friend to read this. So yes, I would give it 1 heart for this. The A is for author. Would you read more of the same author? Yes, I'm going to check the next books in the series. R is for reread. Are you going to reread this at some point in the future? Not likely. I don't think so. And T is, did it make you think, right? Did you see the word differently afterwards? Did you keep thinking about the book afterwards? Well, I had to think about it to make this review, but otherwise, no, not really. This is not one of those really profound books. So, 2 hearts out of 5. And this rating that I made up is kind of a, what would you call it, a tough rating, in the sense that most good books even are going to have 1 or 2 hearts, and that's going to be it. And it's the 5 hearts is going to be really for like the life-changing books. Like for me, a 5 heart now would be like Sherlock Holmes, right? So here, Sherlock Holmes, that for me is like one of those books. I've read like all of the stories of Sherlock Holmes, so it's like 4 full-length novels, and it's like, I forget now, is it like 50-odd short stories, and occasionally I reread a story there. Now, did that give me a book hangover? Well, certainly. I was reading it slowly towards the end because I didn't want to run out of stories to read. Would I encourage a friend to read it? I think everyone should read this. I've checked out other books from the same author besides all of the Sherlock Holmes stories. Like I read The Lost World, for instance, by Conan Doyle. What about, what's the other one? Reread, yeah, occasionally I reread a story, and it certainly made me think afterwards, right? June is another book that kind of comes close, I would say. That's kind of a 4 hearts for me. So, yeah, very few books reach the 5 hearts. I would give this 2 hearts, and so this is definitely a good book, and yeah, I would recommend. So thanks very much, and thanks for watching.